Okay, I was telling someone earlier that information dissemination is different from information management.
Okay.
Okay, what I think as most important is how we as people of River State perceive ourselves, and then how the public within River State and outside River State perceive us. Okay, all of us are beneficiaries of that brand, River State. So if I do business in Port Harcourt in River State, if I work in River State, if I earn money from River State, I have a responsibility to protect the interest of River State. My utmost concern should be that brand, River State, that brand, Port Harcourt. Because if you throw information out there that River State is not safe, River State is a terrible place to be, River State is not where you can do business successfully, you are first suffering before the state is suffering. Because if you paint the picture of someone out there, he will come to live in your state, he will come to do business there. So how do you have a success in business to business relationships when business are not coming? It's our collective responsibility to portray our state as what it is: successful, hospitable, a good environment for investments and investors. Okay, so for me, my biggest interest as chairman House Committee on Information is to ensure that our perception is restructured, and beyond the government circles, our people should be able to understand that it's a collective responsibility for us to rework the brand River State. Government has limits that it can go. Okay. For those of us who are students of politics and international relations, we say that there's what we call non-state actors. Okay, the government has its role, the citizens have their role. The private sector also have their roles. NGOs, organizations, those are non-state actors that add a lot of influence, that have a lot of influence, that wield a lot of influence, that can also bring their own contribution to the fore, to ensure that we have a River State that is perceived as it should be perceived. And then for our traditional government-owned media outfits, I keep telling them, you shouldn't run. I don't like to see people running or describing government establishments as government or public establishments. You must have the private sector mindset.
But would you say the media in River State has been fair to the government of River State or not?
No. I wouldn't sincerely say that the media in River State have been fair to the government. No, I wouldn't say that sincerely.
Okay.
You see, because I insist all the time that the media should be a part of government. We call them the fourth estate realm. Okay.
Yes.
So there should be a part of government, all right? They may not have executive powers or legislative powers or judicial powers, but see, information is very sensitive. Information can make or mar a society. So correct. I think that to some extent, we let too much of politics interfere with the core role of journalism.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be the situation. A properly raised and trained journalist shouldn't be lopsided. Yes, your.
So who is to blame, the traditional media or the new generation social media?
It all works. Everybody has a responsibility. The new generation social media is not. There hasn't been a properly evolved mechanism to manage that social media infrastructure. Do you understand? So if I love garbage, everyone comes in there, and then you're left with the responsibility to manage your own small space. Okay. But when it comes to the traditional media, there are laws, there are rules, okay, that should be followed. There are ethics. All right. So if I'm a journalist, if I'm a media person, when I report, I shouldn't just report because my station has to make money, has to be out there. Okay. I should report first for the interests of the public. How you report that someone was killed yesterday can go a long way in influencing society.
Positively or negatively?
Or negatively. Maybe there was an accident yesterday and someone died. And I say, oh, there was this unfortunate accident yesterday, someone has died. All of us has to ensure that we take our safety rules on the road very seriously. Drive carefully, drive this. Again, you can go and report that, oh, it is rivers of blood again. Today, rivers of blood has claimed another life. Meanwhile, you're just reporting a simple accident that was as a result of either someone's carelessness or something. Not even that it's a bad road. I'm just trying to say that how you throw out an information goes a long way to positively or negatively influence society. So as a trade journalist, you must be objective in your reporting.
Yes.
You must not be influenced by politics, and you must understand that you're a stakeholder in the system, and so anything that will harm the system should be a thing of concern to you. And so while you try to project your brand, you should also try to project the bigger brand, which is that of the states. You must complement what government does.
Yeah.
You must complement. Like when we talk about sanitation, I always tell people, government can bring trucks to your streets and pack your trash away, but government cannot come into your house and teach you how to wash your plates or clean your drainage in front of your house. So there's a role at the individual level you play. There's a role at organizational or corporate levels, and then there's a role at the state level.
Everybody has a role to play, the government or the citizenry.
The government, the citizenry, organizations.
Yes.
All of us have our responsibility when it comes to managing information in the public domain.
Okay. All right, sir. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll return back to the live studio. Please stay with us. We're not going away. Don't also go away. Thank you. Stewardship with SNB. What do you do on a Thursday afternoon? Having lunch? Taking a drink? Watching TV in your living room or office? How much do you know about the politics, economy, and how monies are being expended by those saddled with the responsibility of managing human, material, and natural resources? It's daring, incisive, revealing, and informative. Watch Stewardship with SNB every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. on RSTV. Join us. Stewardship with SNB.
Do you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yes, we are still on to the program, Stewardship with SNB, and my guest is still the honorable member representing Asari-Tori Constituency 2 in the 9th Rivers Assembly, and of course the chairman on information and of course appropriation, Honorable Enemi Alabo George. Honorable member, let's take you back to activities of the 9th Assembly. What would you say is the most uplifting moment of the Rivers 9th Assembly of which you're a member?
That's
in the year 2019.
That's a very complex question. 2019 has been a very eventful year.
Yeah.
It was an election year. It was a lot has happened this year. But I should say that the most uplifting was the presentation of the 2020 appropriation bill by His Excellency the Governor of the state.
Okay.
I think that was most when I looked at a copy of the budget and I saw the content and I saw the deliberate direction that the executive is taking to improve on our means as a state. I was really
yeah, one wonders if there are no individual or member bills aside from executive bills sent in by the governor. Tell us a little bit about it.
There have been a lot of bills. It's difficult to begin to recount.
Maybe the key ones, just as you pointed the appropriation bill.
We've had a lot of bills. We've had the I chaired the House. I chaired the ad hoc committee for the violence against persons prohibition bill. and that was a private. Yes, is an act that has been domesticated, but it's a private member bill. We've had the dehumanizing practices prohibition bill, which was also private member bills. We had, I think, the bill to repeal and reenact the law establishing, I think, the nursing school. We've had a lot of such bills. You know, there's been a lot of executive bills. There's been a lot of private member bills. There's been a lot of.
But it seems the executive bills are more popular than the member bills. Why is it? One expects that the individual and member bills should be more popular.
Not necessarily. You see, that's where a lot of people miss it. Government stands on a tripod.
Okay.
Okay. We have three arms of government, which all should work together in the interest of Rivers State.
Yeah.
Now, we have a lot of executive bills because we work closely with the executive. All right. The executive executes. The executive carries a whole chunk of the burden of leadership in the state. The executive sets the vision for the state. Okay. Articulates development plans. All right.
Yeah.
We as a legislature, we ours is to structure the legislative framework. All right. To, in conjunction with the executive, come up with bills that are meant, laws that are meant for the good of Rivers State. In doing so, a lot of times the executive will have more information that you have when it comes to running the vision.
But then again, honorable member, you represent your people at the local level, your constituents. You represent them. You know their problems. That's why you are a member of an assembly called the River State House of Assembly. And so one expects that you should be able to do a thorough homework to know what problems confront the people more, and then bring it to the floor of the house.
Great.
But oftentimes we see the governor sending in bills, and then you pass them and all of that. There should be more bills from the members than the governor.
There are bills. There will be more bills. There are bills from the members. There are usually no bills from the members.
But we don't hear.
But
we don't hear about.
No,
it.
if you ask, you will find. Well,
okay.
But let me say this. Okay. Government is a continuum.
Okay.
Yes, today, yes, His Excellency, yes, Wike, CEO, and is governor of Rivers State today, and will do maybe a maximum of by our constitution 8 years. Okay, but when he leaves, the development plans that have been set already. You know, you want to talk about when in development planning we have short-term plans, we have the medium-term plans, we have the long-term plans.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a framework within which all three arms of government should function. Okay, so I bring a bill to the house and propose for a law. Okay, it doesn't mean that the executive cannot. I'll give you an instance. The when the governor came into office, one of the points he felt that's when he came for a second term. One of the points, in fact, from his first term, he had the issue of street trading and illegal occupants of streets, illegal parks, and all of that. But you see, in his first term, he was constrained because when you take these people out of the streets, what do you send them to? Whether you like it or not, they are traders. It's their means of livelihood. And so he was a bit slow on that. But when he came back for his second term, having done all he had done in the first term, building massive markets here and there, when at the point where he felt enough space had been created to absorb these people, he proposed a law. Of course, as the governor that is law abiding, he cannot just wake up one day and say, okay, every street trader leave the streets. All right.
Yeah.
So he proposes a law to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly looks at the law critically, makes a few amendments, passes the law. He sends it back. They send it back to him for accent. And then when the law is passed, he sets up the task force to ensure that these guys are taken off the streets. Okay. Now, there is a direction. There's a vision. There's a development plan
Of the government.
That has been set. Within that framework, you need to work with the executive to achieve the vision that has been set.
Okay.
I'm a member of the House of Assembly. I don't lead the state. I can work in sync with my team to ensure that laws are made, oversight is done to ensure that the executive functions effectively. Okay? But I cannot entirely determine the future of our state. I cannot evolve a direction.
Yes.
So that's why, and a lot of times,
the executive calls the shot.
A lot of times what you see from the executive, except new bills, are also amendments and repeals. Laws that have become obsolete are repealed to ensure that they suit current realities. So it's not correct that all we do is pass laws for the executive. Of course, yes, we must. But again, the public should also realize that I try to make people know this. We have public bills. Members of the public can also send in, when they see areas that they feel there are gaps, they can also articulate bills and send to the House. And the House will look at it. So the responsibility to make laws or bring in bills doesn't just rest on the House of Assembly members. There's also an opportunity for the public to participate through public bills. You can send in your bills, we'll look at it. If we feel it meets current realities, the House will treat it. So we've been doing a lot of that.
Okay, honorable member, let's take it this way. There are speculations in many quarters that the governor recently bought honorable members exotic cars to sway objective scrutiny of the 2020 appropriation bills. Maybe you have a different view about it. What is your take on it?
My brother, there's no take on this issue. People will. It's difficult to. If you want to be a leader, you must learn to understand that whatever you do, people will criticize. I don't take criticism in bad faith. I only have issues when criticism is not objective. Okay. When I was talking earlier and you asked me about my life as a banker and my life as a politician, which is multitasking, and I told you they came with their own sets of challenges. And I told you that at some point you don't own yourself anymore. You're public property, whether you like it.
It is. That's true.
When I was called for this program, at some point, if I was a banker, probably I would say, wow, I can't drive all the way to Elelemo for this program. Okay. But now I'm a public person. I'm a public servant. I serve the public. I was voted for. And so I have a duty to be here. I have an obligation to be here. Okay?
Yes.
In doing all of that, there's a certain minimal level of comfort that you deserve. I have a colleague who comes from Eleme. Every day we have to do a sitting. I have a colleague who comes from Tai. I have a colleague who prefers to live in Onega and come to work from there. I don't know if he still does that, but he used to do that. Vehicles, official vehicles for members of the legislature have been a tradition. Okay, it's a normal thing that, okay, those who you have chosen to do this job on your behalf should have a minimal level of comfort. That's okay. There's a House of Assembly quarters that members live. Okay, why is it that why are people not saying that, okay, it is because we want to influence budget that they say members? Why do members of the Assembly live in the House of Assembly quarters? So that they will have an excuse. So that everything they need to perform the jobs they've been voted for, they have it. How will you say, okay, I heard a couple of people say the budget was passed within a short time, there was no scrutiny and all of that, and then I laughed. By God's grace, I checked the House Committee on Appropriation, and so I have information. Budget is a document. There's a long process that leads to that document coming into the four walls of the chambers of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Okay, but also remember that the budget is a small component of the medium-term expenditure framework, which the House has passed a few months ago or a few weeks ago. We passed the revised MTEF a few weeks ago. That's a 3-year development plan that covers a 3-year budgeting plan. This budget that came is a component of that bigger document which had been treated.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
Now we have oversight functions. I chair the House Committee on Information, and so I supervise the Ministry of Information. Not too long ago, directors and the management of RSTV, I called them and we sat down. What are our challenges? What areas are we lacking? What can we do well? Where can we do well? We sat down, exchanged ideas. So, okay, this is how we can be better. And of course, evolve means to also look at the needs that we have and see how we can fit them into the budget. Okay?
Yes.
I called the Ministry of Information. We sat down, we discussed. It's a continuous thing. We've been talking. So, you see that even before the budget comes to the Assembly, there was already legislative inputs.
Okay.
The budget is not Wike's budget. It comes from the executive. Every ministry makes its input. If I'm effective in my oversight, that means I should have an idea of what my ministry is proposing. If I'm effective in my oversight, that means before the budget comes, I already know the direction the ministry is going for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
And so when it comes, why, if I already have an idea of that, 10 days, we worked on the budget for about 10 days.
So in other words, a thorough scrutiny was carried out.
A thorough scrutiny was carried out. And you see, Rivers people should commend the Rivers State House of Assembly. Because usually what you find is in Yuletide, in the festive period, I'm in my village, everybody is there celebrating, killing chicken with their people. But we stayed back because we felt that the 2020 fiscal year begins on the 1st of January. And there were a lot of ambitious insertions in that budget. I'll give an instance. The government intends to implement the new minimum wage this 2020.
Yeah.
What if at the time the government wants to implement it, I have not passed the budget? What if the huge allocation that was made for pensioners and all of that, the budget has not been passed? So as an assembly, we said no. Rivers people are expecting a lot. There is, I think, the most ambitious investment towards agriculture is this 2020 budget as proposed by the executive.
Okay, Honorable Member, you will continue with these thoughts. We will quickly take you to when your speaker and of course other honorable members went to the government house for the governor to assent to the budget estimates of 2020. Let's quickly take a listen to it and then we'll come back to our conversation. Studio, please take us back there.
For the first day of January, the executive has no excuse but to kick it to action to make sure that we give development to our people as expected. We believe and we pray that God will help us to improve the economy of the country so that it will also have positive impact on our revenues, which we have mapped out strategies on how to generate more revenues to carry out the projects we have indicated in the appropriation law. I believe with this, every part of Rivers State will now be ready to receive so many projects and to support the government implementing the promises we have made to them, particularly as regards the agricultural sector, which we think that the women and the youth will gain employment. When we go back to this program, School to Land, some of our youth who are idle will have something to be doing. Agriculture now is the main area that government has to focus, and that is very, very important. Empowerment of youth and women is very key for us. So I thank you for passing this appropriation law, and that the executive is quite happy that he did not delay it. In fact, we are not surprised. We have always had a cordial relationship So I want to say thank you, and God will bless each and every one of us. And let me say Happy New Year in advance. Thank you, and God bless you.
Your Excellency, I don't have much to say.
Stewardship with SNB.
Okay, Honorable Member, that was the governor, and you, the Ninth Assembly, when the bill you passed, the budget SNB you passed, was assented to by the governor. But Honorable Member, let me take you back to the 2019 budget of 480 billion naira. You remember the 2019 budget was 480 billion, and then lots of money was also earmarked to the agricultural sector. Now, here we are in 2020, the budget also has a whopping sum earmarked to the agricultural sector. But we saw little or nothing in the agri sector in the previous budget. And here we are again. The governor has emphasized that agriculture will be given priority attention. How reassuring, as the budget is Christian, how reassuring is this budget to your mind? Yes.
Okay, you see, first, it's not correct to say, I don't know where you got that information from, that there was little or nothing done in the agricultural sector. See, a lot goes into public service beyond the physical infrastructure, physical capital that we see around. A lot of investments go into. So it's not every time. It must not be. You must not see a flyover at Garrison before you know that government is investing in the area of infrastructure.
We're talking about agriculture.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So a lot of work goes into that. Okay, so it's not correct to say that in the 2019 budget there was almost nothing done in agriculture. No, that's not correct, first of all. But you see, you see a deliberate. If you take time to study the 2020 budget, right?
You're also chairman of appropriation.
Yes, appropriation. You will see a deliberate intention to develop human capital. When the governor was talking in his speech, he said that he kept insisting, our women, our youths, our women, our youths. If you have read his budget speech, he spoke about employment for young people. Now, the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to employment that is within our control is that of agriculture.
Yes.
And so that's why you see that there's a massive investment in the sector. And so in no time we're going to be reaping from that. Not too long ago, about 2 years ago, the governor approved for about 4 billion naira to be disbursed to small and medium scale enterprises, including those who are into agro enterprise.
Okay.
To support, to create some kind of support system for those level of small.
So we're expecting more of that in the year 2020.
With this kind of huge allocation to agriculture, you will see a very robust investment in the area of agriculture. In the budget, you see the school to land authority that has been laying dormant there. There's actually there's a proposal to bring it back to life. It is budgeted for. So Rivers people should be expecting a lot of huge investments in the area of agriculture. So having done a lot for physical infrastructure, for physical capital, you know, when we talk about human capital, you also talk about physical capital. A lot has been done in the area of infrastructure. A lot is still being done in the area of infrastructure. Now the governor and his team feel that it's time to begin to develop our people, to put monies in their pockets. And the government feels that the lowest hanging fruit that we have, while we look at the bigger picture and invest in other areas, if we invest in agriculture, it will trickle down. The old woman in the village, the young boy in the village, the young man in Port Harcourt, it will touch everyone. Because when you talk about agriculture, you're talking about production, you're talking about processing, you're talking about transportation, you're talking about distribution. So you see, there's a whole value chain that will be harnessed if investment is done in agriculture. The lady who produces plantain in Ahoda produces. She's so busy in her farm. So another lady goes there and takes off her plantain, brings it to Port Harcourt to sell. In the process, she hires a bus to load the plantain. The transport sector has benefited. She comes to Port Harcourt to the market. So you see that
it's in chain.
There's a whole value chain that we harness if we invest in agriculture.
Okay, honorable member, we'll play another video where the governor recently swore in the members of his cabinet, and then he gave them a charge. Let's hear that. Let's take a look at that video. Studio, please assist us. Let's take a listen to the governor when he sworn in members of his cabinet a few days ago.
On Monday, swore in 13 new commissioners. The River State governor also swore in advisors to the governor in a ceremony at the Executive Council chamber of the Government House, Port Harcourt. The governor charged the new commissioners and special advisors to always place the interests of River State above all other considerations.
Wherever you find yourself, what's important for you is to work for the interests of the state. In working for the interest, there are so many things that may come. By your position, people have known you. It's a CV. So everything must not be money. But as it may please God, you are given that opportunity. So why not come out to say, this opportunity, I will not allow it to go. Let me serve.
The governor said that now that the State Executive Council has been formed, the implementation of the 2020 will start in earnest.
Now that the Executive Council has been fully formed, we have no excuse but to swing into action for the implementation of the 2020 budget. We'll start from the 1st of January 2020.
He warns the new commissioners and special advisors against working with different political...
Stewardship with SNB.
Yes, honourable member, that was the governor giving his charge to the newly sworn-in commissioners and, of course, special advisors. But one key statement the governor made that I can quickly remember is that members of the cabinet should not meddle into politics or cultism or whatever. What do you think the governor intends to achieve? He said they shouldn't meddle into politics of 2023. What do you think the governor intends to achieve?
Well, I am the spokesperson of the River State House himself.
Yes.
I share the House with information. I don't have the capacity to speak on behalf of the government of River State or the governor himself. But it is simple. It is simple. You see a man who is in a hurry to begin to see dividends of his investments in area of area of governance. Okay. Usually, what you see happening in second, what I think he keeps saying it. I've heard him say it a couple of times. What he keeps saying that a lot of times politicians don't perform well in their second term because of the jostle for office. Okay, so what I think he was trying to achieve was to prevent that from happening. Say, hey guys, yes, you've been sworn in, go and settle down and begin to work immediately. You heard when he was saying that, look, the 2020 budget has been passed and its implementation begins on the 1st of January. Okay, so I think he was just trying to encourage them, to advise them to avoid distractions so that they'll be able to take on their mandates and serve Rivers people. When you begin to delve into politics too early into an administration, it comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of distraction, and then you see it distracts you from your mandate, from the core purpose for which you were called to serve. So I think there's nothing wrong with Governor talking to his people.
Okay. Okay, we will open the phone lines. Of course, the telephone lines are displayed on your TV screen there in your living rooms, 080-3341-3360, or you can send text messages to only the number designated for text messages, 080-5347-8400. Let's take the first caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Oh, we lost that call. Yeah, the lines are buzzing. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, you can join us on facebook.com/RSTV channel 22 and facebook.com/stewardship with SNB. Let's take this call again. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, remember, there is a common saying that nobody would want his ego to be deflated. In the governor's New Year message broadcast to Rivers people, he scored himself very high. We'll take a listen to the governor and then we'll throw the question back at you. If the 9th Assembly is on the same page with the governor. Studio, let's take a listen to the governor in his New Year broadcast to Rivers people.
improved the environment for doing business, streamlined the tax regime, and ensured strict security of lives and property, thereby boosting investors' confidence in our economy. Many more firms and businesses are setting up shops and creating employment in the state. We continue to deliver quality road infrastructure and social services, including quality schools, healthcare facilities, water, and decent housing throughout 2019. Although every new year comes with new goals, new hopes, and opportunity for new accomplishments, we'll continue with the existing priorities that we have set for ourselves: improve security, tangible investment in road infrastructure, delivery of social services, human capital development, and expansion of the economy through improved funding support for small and medium-scale businesses and agriculture. As we therefore usher in the new year, we promise that things can only get better for Rivers State. We reiterate our resolve to continue to provide accountable, caring, and transparent administration that works for everyone, both residents and visitors. As a state, long deprived of meaningful development, we acknowledge the need to work twice as hard to take Rivers State to greater heights of development, and will do just that in order to achieve our long-term goal of building an inclusive and prosperous society for us.
Stewardship with SNB.
Yes, the phone lines are buzzing. We'll take your calls, but let's just give opportunity to honorable member to react to what the governor said. The governor seemed to have scored himself very high in the outgone year 2019, where in 2020 is the 9th Rivers Assembly on the same page with the governor in terms of performance.
I want to be a bit selfish, Solomon. You see, they say success has no enemy. I want to very much say that the governor is very correct to have scored himself high, and not just that. And I want to say that the 9th Assembly also shares in that.
The glory. Interesting.
Because to say that we made a lot of mileage. We're coming from.
Well, you're saying that kudos should go to the 9th Assembly too.
The kudos to the governor as the pilot of this ship, as the pilot of this plane, and then also to the 9th Assembly. Also to the judiciary, all of us worked in sync. You know, if we were coming from a time when Port Harcourt was seen in 2014, 2013 into 2014, Port Harcourt almost became a graveyard. A lot of infrastructural deficits. Our state was severely solicitous of leadership.
Yes.
Infrastructural failures, infrastructural deficit, gaps everywhere. The government has done well in the area of infrastructure all over the nation, that is known and said. But beyond that, we had security challenges. That has been faced head-on. In 2018, we were able to effectively contain security. And that's why over the other side, I was telling someone yesterday, you hardly heard of any crime or incident anywhere. The security agencies are up and doing, the governor is providing support. God has really helped us, yes, like the governor said yesterday, yeah, all of the credit goes to God, okay? But then, a lot of effort was put in that area. And then now, you want to talk, you see, there are a lot of subtle gains that we don't talk about all the time. I love to talk about ease of doing business, because that's how investors come into your state. If you want to talk about prosperity, if you want to talk about shared prosperity, then you must talk about investments into your state. There are 3 core components when you talk about ease of doing business that will encourage investors to come. That's the area of effective administration of justice.
Okay.
A strong legal system, effective tax administration and management system, okay, and effective land management system. In those 3 areas, the government of Nyesom Wike fared very well. We have a very functional, a very effective, very supported judiciary that is up and doing. We have a tax management system that is unprecedented, run by a core professional. The issue of multiple taxation has been raised to the barest minimum. We now leverage technology. We have automated our revenue collection system.
Yeah.
We have a land management system that is fantastic. If you want your CFOs now, it's just about weeks That wasn't the case before. So if we get it right in these three areas, it means that we're going to get it right in investment. That's why you're seeing investors coming back. Go to Transamadi, you see that businesses are coming back, shops are opening every day. So I scored the governor very high for 2019. He did. In fact, I called the governor and his team, the executive, and the legislature. Please give us some credit.
Oh, the legislature too. Well, all the three arms of government actually did well. All right, thank you. Kudos to the executive, kudos to the legislature, and of course the judiciary. Let's take a call. This our last caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your location, your name and your location, please.
I'm calling from Iba.
You are Bright and calling from Iba.
Yes.
All right, Bright, go on.
I called because
Come again.
I scored because my party.
Why? Why? Are you in River State? Are you sure you live in River State? Are you sure you live in Port Harcourt?
I live in River State. You cannot take put me and make government as government.
There should be a mix up there. This fellow scoring the government law. Well, one is wondering if he's not in River State or is not in Port Harcourt. What do you think is really wrong there?
Yeah, I like to allow people to
express themselves.
Themselves. If you're in River State, and I wouldn't. It would be demeaning for me to even respond to that kind of a session. I'll let the River people respond to him because it's actually very funny.
Okay, let's hear from this last caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your location and where you're calling from, please. What your name, please?
River State.
Yes, your name?
Amado Julian.
Your who?
Amado Julian.
Okay, go on. Go on. Oh, we lost that call. All right. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Oh, the telephone lines are acting up. It is not our fault, maybe network issues. Time is not on our side. Honourable member, do you have an agenda as the 9th Assembly set an agenda for itself in the year 2020? Very quickly before we draw the curtains.
The agenda for the 9th Assembly has always been one, from inception.
What is it? Lawmaking?
From inception, the agenda of the 9th Assembly has been to represent Rivers people and to work in their interests. Mr. Speaker, the Speaker of the Rivers Assembly, Bright Winkle or Wajobani, will always say in our sessions that infractions against our persons as individuals can be ignored, but infractions against our states must be remedied. So you see, we work within the framework of the consciousness that we were chosen from amongst many people to serve our people and to serve the state. So our agenda is one, and that is the interests of Rivers people. And so that's why the 9th Assembly is committed to do anything that will improve upon the welfare of Rivers people and that will meet the expectations of those people who voted for us. So our agenda is one, our agenda is Rivers State. The interest of Rivers State is our principal and singular agenda.
All right, that will be all on the program. We sincerely apologize that we will not be able to take your calls. The network is really acting up. But the honourable member concluded that infractions on our persons as individuals can be ignored, but infractions on the state will always be defended. He quoted the Speaker of the 9th Assembly to have always said so. Honourable member, I want to thank you so much for finding time to be part of this program.
Thank you.
We enjoyed your conversation, and I do believe that the viewing public also did. Yes, and to my colleagues who have been pressing the right buttons, I want to thank you for doing the right job. Fingers in this area, the head of the current affairs program, of course, the general manager of RSTV, Dafili Gogorabe, who have been very supportive of this program to, of course, reach out to the public. And to everybody here in the studio, I want to thank you so much for doing what you know best. My name is Solomon Nelson Braid. Join us again sometime next week where we shall bring you another guest with another topic. Bye-bye and Happy New Year. Stewardship with SNB. Stewardship with